Well, greetings and welcome to our series of weekly devotionals as we look at a passage in Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 5, verses 1 to 11. I've shared this story before. Those who have been in the church for a long time probably have heard this story more than once about my very first time driving. I got behind the wheel of my dad's 1979 Chevrolet Caprice Classic, drove it up to the Whitehall Mall, and promptly drove it into the side of a Pepsi truck, denting in the entire passenger side of the vehicle. Drove home and promptly blamed it on my twin brother, Tom. I did a little bit of that as a kid. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. He did it. To be fair, I'm pretty sure my brother did the same thing to me often enough. As kids, we do that sort of thing. You know, we try to escape, avoid punishment, and avoid blame and say it's someone else's fault. But, you know, we don't just do that sort of thing as kids. I think as adults, we often rationalize our behavior as well. Well, I didn't mean to do it. It was for your own good, really. A little white lie never hurt anybody. The ends justify the means, or one of my personal favorites, if you were offended by something I said, well, then I'm sorry. It wasn't really my fault. It was your fault. We have a hard time sometimes acting accountable for our actions. Well, in this passage, Paul writes these words. So then, let us not fall asleep as others do, but let us keep awake and be sober. For those who sleep, sleep at night, but those who are drunk get drunk at night. But since we belong to the day, let us be sober. So Paul is using the metaphor of awake and sober, sobriety and being awake, as a metaphor, I think, for being accountable for our actions, for living as if Christ indeed is coming into our lives. I think sometimes we don't like the word judgment. We kind of envision that as coming face to face with God on the judgment seat at the end of our days, and it can be a scary proposition for us. We would much rather think of a loving God, not a judging God. But as Paul teaches, and I think as the scriptures in general teach us, we don't just come face to face with God at the end of our days, but I think that we come face to face with God throughout our lives. We come face to face with God when we encounter the stranger. We come face to face with Christ when we offer prayers of confession and acknowledge our shortcomings. We come face to face with Christ when we make financial decisions and choose how to spend our money. In all of these situations, we come face to face with Christ, and we are called to account. We are called to account for how loving we are towards God and towards one another. I think love and justice, love and judgment, love and accountability are always two sides of the same coin. And we can't be loving without also being accountable. And so these verses remind us of indeed our need to be accountable for our actions. And as we think about Christ coming into our world, coming into our lives, Paul confronts us with this question that we might ask ourselves daily. When it comes to loving, how is our accounting? Amen. Amen.